Hi guys, I'm Sean. This is Alyssa.
Gas is in our hearts.
And this is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. India has conquered the moon. Everybody's celebrating, except maybe for this one guy. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen in this video, but the name of it is British media targets India after Chandrayaan 3 success. And so
they just can't let it go. The British people just...
It's not the first time they've disparaged India, but we were hoping that, we had turned a new leaf here. Now, we know that anytime anyone is too successful or a country's too successful, the haters are going to crawl out from under the rocks and start making noise. So let's see what this guy has to say.
Ansareen is senior fellow of the ORF. Also, Sophie Corcoran is political commentator. She's British but based out of Australia. Sophie, I saw your tweet. Your tweet has garnered more than 1 million views on Twitter. You talk about not just the fact that you are aghast that UK is giving this aid to India, but you also want it back. Is that not unfair, just that comment?
Wait, it's this chick that's being hating on? I thought you said it was a guy.
I thought it was a guy. I guess maybe there's multiple haters, probably, which is the case. Now, I think what I heard there is that...
I just also want to make this comment that obviously it's not all the British people hating on...
Oh, of course not.
Well,
no.
I said, the British people just can't... I don't mean all the British people.
No, of course not.
I mean some of the people that are British.
The vast majority of British people are applauding and are very proud of what India has accomplished for the world. So
there's a lot of Indian people living in Britain.
Absolutely. Now, I think
that were born
what
there.
this lady is saying is that India gets a certain amount of funding or money from perhaps Britain, and they would like that money back now because they're doing things for... So it's like humanitarian, maybe money? I don't know. Let's back up just a little bit.
What do you mean that Britain has given India money?
Yeah, let's see.
Well, they also screwed them
up. They also took trillions and trillions of dollars, but other than that...
occupied them.
Exactly. So, I mean, they definitely...
Didn't the queen, steal... Doesn't she have, an Indian prince's jewel or something that they won't give back?
Yeah.
Quit your whining.
Let's see what she says here.
Aid to India, but you also want it back.
Okay.
Oh, is that not unfair, just that comment? You talk about not just the fact that you are aghast that UK is giving this aid to India, but you also want it back. Is that not unfair, just that comment? As if Britain has never succeeded by trampling over India and India's resources?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's unfair at all. If you're creating a incredible space program that has defied the odds in the world, is doing much better than everybody else, your economy is much larger than ours now, there's no reason for our country to be giving India aid, and it's not coming from a place of jealousy. The fact of the matter is that many in the West would view or have viewed in the past as India as being some unsuccessful third world country. But the fact of the matter is that India doesn't need to be babysat by the UK. You don't need our aid. You've got incredible economic growth.
Babysat. This is their space program. I didn't hear about the British helping with the space program.
What's the aid? What aid? I want to know what she's talking about. She's coming from the angle of they don't need us. They're independent. She is playing it off as in India's so great they shouldn't need our help.
Kind of, but she's doing it in sort of a strange way.
Exactly. So I just want to know what she means by which aid.
Yeah, so
were they funding this mission specifically?
No, I don't think so. I think what
they're
I'm
talking about
other
other ways that they give India money.
Yeah, I think it's almost like reparations in some way, but it's some sort of financial aid, probably for humanitarian reasons for people in need.
They've never given official reparations.
No, they haven't. So
if anything, it's of course they're going to accept whatever aid these people are going to give them.
Of course, yeah. I mean, because it's owed, right?
She's trying to be look at how successful you are, without, as, this whole, she's trying to be India's trying to play off that they're, or not them themselves, or in general, it's people think that India's this third world country or something and you can't have these great and then she's look at what they did. So yeah, why should we give them any money? Yeah. But there's countries, the States, for instance, so many millions and billions of dollars in debt, and that they get money from other countries all the time.
And they give a lot of aid to other
countries. It doesn't mean that just because you're successful or not, a third world country, that you don't deserve any aid from other countries whatsoever. It seems like an excuse to stop giving any money to this specific country.
You've got incredible, infrastructure. You've got incredible innovation in order to do something that many other countries haven't been able to succeed. I mean, India was the first country to ever land a mission on the south side of the moon. What, you don't need British aid. Our economy here is declining. So why on earth are we sending millions of pounds of taxpayers' money in investment into India or through aid programs when India doesn't need our aid?
Frankly, most Indians will agree with you that we don't really need the British aid. And as I said, the official aid to India, government to government India, did stop almost a decade back. So whatever aid comes in is, as I said, as per British policy, for mutual benefit and prosperity.
Yeah, that's what I
it's sort
thought.
of like a
That's what I thought.
relationship building
That's what I
between
thought.
countries.
Well, she said investing in India. Investing isn't just like a one-sided thing. You're getting something out of it yourself.
It's sort of
the
a
end of the day.
goodwill gesture between nations
It's
to
like
build
trade.
ties and
Yeah.
to strengthen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Policy for mutual benefit and prosperity. It is aimed at creating jobs in UK too. So when you say, if you had left it at asking the question on your government as to why you're giving this aid to India, I don't mind, you are well within your right to ask that question to your government. But what do you mean by taking it back? What about all the money that British looted
if she's
from
going to
India?
take
When
it back,
are we
maybe
ever
they
going to
should
see
take it back.
reparations for that?
She's talking about reparations.
I mean, firstly, I think that's absolutely ludicrous to suggest that the British taxpayer now should be paying for colonisation, because no British taxpayer alive, pretty much, has any influence or any involvement in colonisation. So this idea that my taxes should be going towards reparations for colonisation, I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. But in that sense, why are we allowing our government? I have more of a problem with, no problem with India, but more of a problem with my own government. Is why are we sending aid to India, and where's this, I think it was something that in the last year, £54 billion of investment. Why are we not keeping that money back if your economy is so advanced to the point that you can invest in these unbelievably successful missions? A lot of people have highlighted the inequality that exists in India and the mass poverty that exists in India, but in my opinion, that's a problem with your own form of government and not got anything to do with the British.
Sophie, I agree with you that you are well within your right to ask your government that question. And frankly, most Indians will be very okay if the Britishers stopped giving this aid, quote unquote, to India. But since you talked about getting that money back from India, which is an extreme position to take, I am well within my right to ask, how about you give us all the money you looted under colonial rule to India? But let me bring in Sushant Sareen here. Sushant, how do you see this, this new facet
doing a good
emerging
job,
from
this,
Britishers?
Yeah, that's true. It's like India never got the money back. Her argument, the British person is just that, oh, well, that was so long ago, and now like people living weren't a part of that thing, and so now you should give this back now. It's like, no, it doesn't matter the time frame. It's like, yeah, they never got their money back. So what makes you feel like you?
And of course,
it's kind of just like,
and of course, £58 million is a pittance compared to the trillions that were taken from.
Oh, now she knows how it feels to not get the money back, and also it's like what money quote back, because she's like the aid is also like beneficial to Britain.
Yeah, well, and she also kind of was doing, I think, sort of the air quotes or the so-called aid. I'm getting the sense that it's more of an investment, because the more that you invest in sort of Indian infrastructure, business, or even the people itself, it creates more investment opportunities, business opportunities, opportunities to collaborate between the UK and India.
Like, can we even characterize it as aid?
Yeah.
Or is it beneficial for Britain? Like, why would they just give the money? It's not reparations.
Yeah.
It's just like they're giving the money for some type of reason. It just seems like this British person hasn't necessarily done her full research. Like, yeah, she could be upset about like, oh, why is my government giving India money when maybe they could be giving money
here at
in
home
Britain or for this or that. But like, maybe she doesn't know the full extent of like what that money is being used
doing
for,
and how many benefits,
and that it's maybe benefiting Britain. And
exactly. Yeah,
we can all have our own grievances where it's like, oh, why are we giving this country all this money, and people here are really struggling.
Yep.
And da, da, da,
no,
da.
I mean, I can.
She is saying
we can all sympathize with her position, and
she is saying it's not even. She's more mad at her own government, I think, not necessarily India, but this whole money back thing doesn't. makes sense.
I think the question that she needs to be asking is, what's this money doing and how is it benefiting the UK? Like, what's the reciprocal, like, what are we getting back for this? And like I said, no doubt someone's done this cost benefit analysis, and it's made a lot of sense for the UK to do this. So they've got their reasons. I'd be curious to know more about that.
Where they're like, oh, we don't need to give aid to India. We want this money back.
Shivani, I treat it with the kind of utter contempt this kind of talk deserves. And it's not just coming from these white racists in Britain or Australia or wherever else.
Well,
it's also coming from the so-called liberal BBC. Just 3 or 4 years back when the Chandrayaan mission had failed, we've got that clip running around. So this disparaging attitude and this sneering attitude which these Brits have, is just too galling. But on the most substantive issues, number one, the government of India way back, I think in 2011 or 2012, under the Manmohan Singh government, had told everybody around the world, we don't want your aid.
Yes.
Okay? The Brits were not doing us any favor. They were doing charity out here, not because there was some altruism involved in it. They were doing it because they buy people out here, they buy their loyalties, they buy their lobbying thing. They want those people to lobby out here and disparage India. So please give me a break. Take your money and shove it up wherever you want to shove it up. Okay?
What?
Number one. Number two, whatever monies they are giving right now, nothing is coming to the government of India. They're only giving it to NGOs which plug the line which the Brits want to do. And there is some of it which is going into business houses because they are trying to create markets and trying to create synergies.
Yeah, I'm saying she
Indian
probably didn't know where and what
the
the
British
money's
themselves acknowledge that this money is being given because it creates jobs in Britain. It creates markets for Britain, and they're actually profiting from a lot of this money which they're giving to private sector people. The government of India is not taking a damn thing from these guys. So these guys should get their facts right and lay off. Now, on the other hand, I think it's also important to point out that because they don't have the competence to achieve the kind of scientific achievements that ISRO and many other Indians have, if they are feeling jealous about it, or they can't handle that a country which they colonized, they plundered, they pillaged, they looted, they raped, if those people are rising back and achieving things which these guys can't achieve, and they're going back into the dark ages, learn to handle it, deal with it.
Sophie, you want to respond to that?
Oh, I can't wait.
Snap.
Listen, mate, it's got nothing to do with jealousy. Would you rather me sit here and ignore the achievements of India and continue like the West are and thinking that India is some poverty-ridden third world country? Or do what I like I've done and say India doesn't need aid? Of course it doesn't need aid, because you're a successful country. You've got a massive economy. You're achieving massive economic growth, and you're achieving extraordinary.
Yeah, but he just explained it's not
I know,
aid in the
it's
traditional
the issues
sense. He
about
just
the
explained
aid.
where the money's going.
I see her argument in the sense, like, if they were giving this aid for reasons that she's like, oh, it's because this poverty-stricken country needs this money from it. But he explained what the aid
it's going to NGOs.
Was.
It's
so that's the issue, is they're arguing on like a non-fact.
I mean, she just doesn't like the idea that there's money going from the UK to India, but
Anyway.
I
just like, he first started off his thing saying these people are racist or something. I don't think this girl's racist. Why she feels that way.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah,
I know that he is frustrated, and it's very frustrating and whatever. But I think there's more to it than she's. I see why she's doing what she's doing, and she doesn't have the facts straight, like he said, at all. So she's thinking this again. She's just thinking like, we've been, India has been characterized probably by the British themselves, though, as this like poverty-stricken country, or that like until we watched the videos of like what India is really like how it's portrayed in films and movies and like in the West, it's like they're really struggling.
Millionaire or
so
something.
She's just got it mixed up, where it's like, again, the aid isn't actually like aid in the way that she thinks it is, but if she does think it's that, and then it's like, oh, they've got this whole space. Like, she's kind of like, you guys have a booming economy. You guys are doing great. Yeah. Like, and so why are we still?
Well, I think she's
or
sort
not
of like,
still, but like, why is our country? She just thinks it's sort of like, oh, she's thinking it's like fakeness, I think. Like, oh, you're being characterized as like, we need help, we're not doing so well, and then it's like, oh, but you have all these achievements, your economy's booming, it's like better than ours, and so then it's like, what's fair? That's what she's thinking. Well, but the aid isn't actually like the aid in the way that she thinks it is.
Well, she's a British nationalist, and she wants what's best for her country. Doesn't everybody wants what's best for the country?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't fault her for that. But she's not. I suspect that if she got in the room of the people that are handing this money out, she would leave going, oh, that's why we're giving the money, because it's actually strategic for us.
She needs
this
to change her
makes
tune.
us money.
She didn't listen.
We get the return on this investment.
He told her what it meant, and she didn't listen. So that's the issue. Is I think, if she was listening and she would change her tune and be like, oh, okay, I had thought that it, I didn't realize that that's what the money was about and what it was for. And now hearing that,
Well, I don't think she's going to give any territory here. Let's see what happens.
So she is just not getting past, like when she hears new information, she's not processing that. Like she's just sticking to her guns. So there is some jealousy in there somewhere. Like, I don't know what's going on.
It's got nothing to do with jealousy, pointing out the fact that India has been a highly, highly successful country. But that is why India does not need our aid. And I think people, we're in agreement in a sense that this idea that we should be sending any form of aid to India is disrespectful, in my opinion, firstly to India as well, because you don't need our aid. You don't need the British people. And we, as British people, with an economy
She said that they didn't want it, and they said they didn't want it.
Don't need our money being sent elsewhere to countries like
yes,
India.
Yes, but Sophie, don't you think that it's important to talk about that in the context that it deserves? For example, this thing coming up as anger on social media by the social commentators in Britain because of Chandrayaan is misplaced. Now, the British aid is not helping our space mission. Our space mission or our moon mission, in any case, runs on very shoestring budget.
Sorry, did we get to see her tweet? Because that would give a lot of context as well. Like, what did her tweet say?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, but I think she's given us enough context by just explaining her position here. Certainly more than could be
So she tweeted something as well without getting the facts about like the aid thing, and the guys explained it to her. So like her tweet, I'm guessing, was quite blunt and very,
it's
not based in truth that they are giving them this like.
I kind of got the sense it's almost, well, if you guys can afford to go to the moon, well, then we don't need to give you any money at all, because obviously you can afford to do this one thing. So
yeah.
Just 600 crore rupees was the moon mission. So that aid is not meant for this space mission. That aid is meant for things that help Britain.
Yeah.
No, quite. But
Shivani, it's not even aid. I don't know why you keep calling it aid.
Yeah, the aid.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it should be questioned if it is aid at all.
Yes,
but Sushant, let her finish. I'll give you an opportunity.
Yes, my answer very clearly was the British people are angry at our government for sending India aid because they don't need aid. Clearly, if you've got a country that's the largest economy in the world and is achieving some of the most incredible things out there, why are we sending you money?
We're just going in circles.
I think not only is it ridiculous from our side of things, but it's also disrespectful from your side.
She's mad about something that's not happening.
Third world, poverty-ridden country.
Because India has already refused. It doesn't want this aid, but it cannot clamp down on these relationships between two friendly countries where exchanges do happen. And of course, for mutual benefits, these money.
India's not gonna be like, we're not gonna trade with you at all.
Or start to dictate what NGOs do. They're non-governmental for a reason.
Yeah.
Around, and of course there are contracts of the governments have. That's a separate thing. So I hope you're not counting all of that, because those are also mutually beneficial. But I have a minute left. Yes, Sushant. I just don't understand that why people talk about this. It's not just about the disparaging fact. First, on one side they'll say, why does a poor country need a moon mission? Why don't you do something else with that money? Then they'll also say, oh, you are such a rich country, you can manage this mission. Why do you need our aid? The Britishers need to make up their mind.
So Shivani, first, it's not aid. Number one, right? What they're doing is more of investments. They're getting profits out of whatever money they're spending in India.
Exactly.
And they're buying some amount of political influence. Number two,
she's not.
We are not their colony anymore. That we need to hear from them on what we should spend money on and what we should not
to
spend money
dictate
on.
what they should be doing.
So we don't need their gratuitous advice. They can take it and again shove it up wherever they want to. Right? Number
This
three,
guy,
very importantly,
he's bold.
the Brits,
I love it.
You know, they are giving money to Pakistanis, for example,
Yes,
for
they do.
improving their education. They've been giving money to the Pakistanis, I think, for the last 20 years. Millions, hundreds of millions of pounds. All that they have managed to do is to create mini Emirates in Britain. And I won't be surprised in 20 years from now, you will have the Islamic Emirate of Great Britain in Britain. So good luck to these guys. They can keep pointing fingers at India. We don't need these fellows anymore. They can go take a hike for all we care.
Maybe the Indian government should seriously look at just stopping whatever is this quote-unquote aid that comes to India. But of course, if the government did that, they'll be called draconian.
Yeah, the moment
like they would get in
and
trouble
see the kind of howls of protest that will come from these guys.
Exactly. So, it's heads I win, tails you lose, but it's the kind of commentary that doesn't really behoove anyone on an occasion when India is achieving what nobody in the world has achieved.
Jeez. I think she might have actually been letting some of that sink in there
I was gonna
towards the end.
she remained calm.
Yeah.
This guy,
I saw her eyebrows lift a couple times too, being like, oh, okay.
The guy was he was defensive.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, but
for his own good reason.
But he was well spoken, and he didn't get personal. He was respectful.
How he was expressing, she could have escalated, and she didn't.
Maybe a little personal.
She kind of stayed at her same.
Yeah.
It goes to show that, although she wasn't agreeing with him, she wasn't getting more flustered by his frustration on the matter.
It was a good conversation to have. And we hope that perhaps some British folks that had similar sentiments to her had a chance to see this, get some more information, and then change their minds about things, or at least see it from a different perspective. But yeah, that was really interesting. And no guy was involved at all. I thought it was a male broadcaster from the BBC. Now he did reference something to do with the BBC being disparaging as well too. I think like 4 years ago or something. So I think I was crossing my wires there.
But, the political. What did he say?
I don't quite remember, but
it's gonna be hard to find.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Need the British aid, and
so that's just in case you didn't know there, Alyssa, I believe that's the mayor of London right there. That Indian fellow that we keep seeing walking across. He's got the blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we saw him meeting with Modi in Hiroshima.
Oh, he's the mayor of London?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so anyways, well, there you go.
This commenter says some Brits are even calling it fake. I bow to our freedom fighters who fought for independence. Love my India. Yeah, I do think there's a lot. There's obviously
actually scroll down just a second here. It says, as an Indian, I'm only happy that this was a healthy discussion, not bipartisan attacks and drama. Yeah, it's
good to have these discussions.
Exactly.
I do think that there are definitely people that there's obviously racism exists. It's still very much going on. This lady, don't think that's where her viewpoints were coming from. So it was interesting when he was like, oh, it's race. I don't doubt that there's people in Britain that just can't handle it, that they have some racism in them and stuff. That's where it's sometimes people butt heads because it's sort of oh, you all are just being racist. And then she's like, well, no, my point is it's about as a country, India's doing so well. And it's not about
I don't think she understood the reciprocal nature of the aid, and
obviously that was the big issue.
It serves the UK gets a lot out of it. In fact, they probably get more out of it than they put in, or they wouldn't be doing it. It's good on what is this, News 18 for having these sorts of difficult discussions and doing so in a civilized way. And geez, well, there you go. That was an interesting video. I'm really happy that we checked that out, and I'm just excited for more space news to come, and maybe more positive videos from here on out. But we're always willing to wade into the controversy. And if you guys would like to check out the next videos along with us, well, then you're gonna want to
click the subscribe button, click the bell, choose all from drop down so you get updated every time we upload. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button,
thumbs up,
comment down below.
We love you a whole lot.
Love you guys.
This is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. All right,
signing off. Bye.
Bye, guys.
I was just hoping he was gonna say they can shove it up there one more time.
Yeah. I'm
I
know. I was waiting for that.
Just one more time, be
but
great.
Then the third time he said they can take a hike. You have to switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.